I don't believe in the resurrection just like that, because faith is based on evidence.
But you've changed your ground again. What you said before was that there is no hope without God, and it's
well, that's true. That's absolutely true. Okay. You just admitted it.
I haven't admitted it. I said if that's true. Yes. So what? I didn't say it was true. But anyway,
but therefore the question to be decided then is there a God, and has he revealed himself?
In this video, we're going to explore a striking debate between John Lennox and Richard Dawkins on science and God. At the center of the discussion is a challenging question. Could God have found a better way to deal with human sin rather than allowing himself to be tortured as described in Christian teaching? Lennox sees evidence of design in the universe, while Dawkins explains reality through natural processes alone. This sets the stage for a deeper clash of worldviews about meaning, origin, and truth. Before we continue with the full story, I'd love to know where you're watching from, so leave your country or city in the comments below. Then take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can grow this Christian community together. Your support truly means a lot to us. Now let's watch the clip.
Do you really think that the creator of this magnificent edifice of the universe, the expanding universe, the galaxies, he really couldn't think of a better way to get rid of the sins on this one little speck of dust than to have himself tortured? He's the one who's doing the forgiving after all. Couldn't he just have forgiven?
Because this is a moral universe, Richard, and just forgiving doesn't make sense.
You mean he has to kill himself in order to...
He doesn't kill himself.
Or get himself killed? Tortured?
God sends his Son into the world to provide forgiveness and to provide a basis on which he can justly bring forgiveness to me. Now,
he has to get himself killed in order to do that.
Well, half a minute. We need to step back from this a little bit because it's actually a highly relevant topic. In your world, where is justice to be found?
Well, justice is a human construct of great importance in human affairs, and it's something that we have, most of us have a sense of, which I think probably can be given some sort of Darwinian explanation, but I don't see where you're taking this.
Well, my question is there any ultimate justice? You see, you say this is petty. I'm saying I find myself in a world which is a broken world. I find myself in a world where there's massive injustice, where many people won't get it. We're so privileged, we live in Oxford and so on, we've got enough money to live on, etc., etc. But if there is no God, then there's no ultimate justice. And one of the things that the resurrection transforms for me from pettiness right into center stage is, if this is true, then there's real hope that there'll be a rational evaluation and fair justice at the end of the world. But atheism doesn't give you that.
Okay, suppose there is no hope, suppose there is no justice, suppose there's nothing but misery and darkness and bleakness, suppose there is nothing that we would wish for, nothing that we would hope for. Too bad. That doesn't make it true just because God would make us feel good.
Well, of course it doesn't.
Well, then why do you bring that argument up?
Because I believe that there is evidence that it is true.
In this part of the discussion, Lennox highlights a central idea in Christian teaching, the belief in a just God. From this perspective, the cross is seen as a display of divine justice where the penalty of sin is addressed rather than ignored, showing both justice and mercy working together in the death of Jesus. For believers, this brings hope and assurance that injustice in this world is not the end of the story, and that ultimate justice and vindication will come in the life to come. Lennox contrasts this with atheism, arguing that it struggles to provide a final answer to the problem of innocent suffering and injustice in the world. Even in Dawkins' own framing, the reality of suffering is acknowledged, but without a clear foundation for ultimate justice beyond human society.
I don't believe in the resurrection just like that, because faith is based on evidence.
But you've changed your ground again. What you said before was that there is no hope without God. And it sounded
well, that's true. That's absolutely true. Okay. You just admitted it.
I haven't admitted it. I said, if that's true, yes. So what? I didn't say it was true. But anyway,
but therefore the question to be decided then is there a God, and has he revealed himself? And that's where, again, I think this pettiness needs to be pushed aside, because I can't get to know you as a person. You're not just a scientific object. I could look at you through a telescope or a magnifying glass. I could even dissect you and so on and so forth. But because you are a person, I cannot get to know you unless you're prepared to reveal yourself to me. So the fact that the claim of Christ to be the truth, to be God incarnate, that makes perfect sense to me, because if there is a God who invented this wonderful, marvelous universe with all its science and all the rest, then he has taken the initiative in getting to know us and revealing himself to us. And he's revealed himself to us at the level we can understand. We're persons, he's a person. That at least makes sense. So one of the very important questions to ask is that really true? Or is this simply myth and fantasy?
Well, myth and fantasy for me.
Yeah, well,
For Christians, the incarnation of Jesus is understood as God's clearest revelation to humanity. God stepping into human history in the person of Christ, showing that he is not distant but deeply involved with his creation. Jesus is seen not just as a teacher but as the expression of God's love and his desire for a real relationship with mankind. If you're still watching at this point and haven't subscribed yet, please take a second to click the subscribe button so we can build this Christian community together. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, Bible-centered content that encourages and strengthens believers around the world. Thank you for being part of this journey. Some scholars also argue that the story of Jesus doesn't look like something simply invented. In that historical context, a fabricated Messiah would likely be portrayed as powerful and victorious, not someone humiliated, tortured, and ultimately killed by his enemies. Because of that, the narrative is often seen as pointing more toward a real historical figure than a constructed myth.
You could possibly persuade me that there was some kind of creative force in the universe. There was some kind of physical, mathematical genius who created everything. The expanding universe, devised quantum theory, relativity, and all that. You could possibly persuade me of that. But that is radically and fundamentally incompatible with the sort of God who cares about sin, the sort of God who cares about what you do with your genitals, the sort of God who is interested, who has the slightest interest in your private thoughts and wickednesses and things like that. Surely you can see that a God who is grand enough to make the universe is not going to give a tuppenny cuss about what you're thinking about and your sins and things like that.
so you think that morality is not important?
Of course I don't think morality is not important. I'm
Well,
a human
it
being.
sounds like you're saying
No,
it isn't
I'm
important.
a human being, and I live in a society of human beings, and within a society of human beings, morality is of course important. But we are one of billions of planets on a huge scale, and a cosmic God who bothers about this kind of human scale is not the kind of God that is compatible with a scientific view of the universe. It's a medieval view.
But do you think that size is the measure of importance? Incidentally, on a logarithmic scale, you're about halfway between the atom and the universe. So if God thinks in terms of logarithms, your point falls, I think.
I mean, this is in a sense an emotional argument we've come into now. And
I don't think so at all.
If I were going to respect a God, it would be the kind of God the sort of God that Carl Sagan might have worshipped, not the sort of medieval God who fusses about sin, the obsession with sin and righteousness and sort of, I keep coming back to this word petty, and I stand by it.
Because if God is real and has revealed himself, then it's through a relationship with him that we really can enjoy a full life, science included.
It becomes intriguing in this final reflection that Dawkins, like most people, does care about morality. He speaks about right and wrong and recognizes moral judgment as part of human life. But the deeper question raised is, on what foundation is that morality actually built? From his perspective, morality is often treated as a social construct shaped over time by human societies. Yet the critique here is that this explanation may not fully account for the depth and authority people feel when they speak about justice, guilt, and moral responsibility. In contrast, the Christian worldview argues that moral understanding in the West has been deeply shaped by the biblical foundation of God's character. In this view, morality is not merely human invention, but grounded in the nature of a just and holy God. This leads back to the core message of Christianity, the belief that God cares about sin so deeply that he did not remain distant from human suffering, but entered into it, ultimately sending his Son to bear the weight of sin on behalf of humanity. We conclude with a reflection often emphasized by John Lennox: if God is real and has revealed himself, then it is through a relationship with him that human life finds its fullest meaning. Science included, not excluded. And that brings this discussion full circle. Not only about science and belief, but about meaning, morality, and the search for truth. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.